Hi, Stephanie Abrams here, dashing through the airport. I'm going on an adventure. I've got my backpack, I've got my laptop, I've got my traveling shoes on. Come along with me. I am so glad that you are with us because we're going on a rail journey. And I have to tell you, I love to travel by train, and that's something of an understatement, because I really have a passion for traveling on trains that started when I was a very little girl. And my grandfather preferred to do longer journeys by train than driving. And so we would travel by train in the U.S. and travel on trips that were 1,000 to 1,500 miles by train. And so I fell in love with trains. I was probably 3 on the first trip we did, and loved every second of it. And any opportunity I have, whether it's to take a day trip or an overnight or longer on a train, count me in. And I had the pleasure and privilege of meeting by telephone more than a year ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Mr. Jim Deegan, who is the director of Ireland RailTours First Class. And we've had him on the air with us a couple of times. So if you go to sabrams.com and you do a little search there for Ireland RailTours or Jim Deegan, you're going to come up with the archived audio for those interviews. We're lucky because we have him on the line with us today, and I have him on the line with us because last week I was in Boston. He was in Boston on business, and we got the chance to meet and chat, and I said, well, you must come on the air with us. Welcome, Jim. I'm delighted to have you with us.
Thanks, Stephanie. Greetings from Ireland.
Oh, it was great meeting you because I wouldn't have picked you out in a crowd. We'd never met before, but we've spoken so many times on the phone and had you on the air a couple of times already, and so had no idea you were such a tall fellow.
Well, they only use me because I'm big.
Well, you looked very handsome on the stage talking about Ireland RailTours First Class. And when they introduced your name, I thought, now I know him. And then when they said the company, I said, I absolutely know him. So I couldn't wait until you came down from the stage to pounce upon you. And I'm glad we had a time to, just chill out and chat afterward. It was great. So thank you for joining us today. Why don't you first explain for our audience what makes taking an Ireland RailTours First Class experience valuable?
Well, RailTours Ireland First Class is we're the only dedicated rail tourism operator in Ireland, and our motto is car-free, care-free. So a fantastic way of touring Ireland without having to drive. We drive on the wrong side of the road, and we've a lot of stick-shift cars and things like that, and very narrow roads. So we can explore Ireland by rail without having to drive.
Well, I'm sure you've gone out of your way to make the idea of driving in Ireland sound very undesirable.
well, particularly in the beautiful wide Atlantic Way, where the roads are narrow, and we've tried to keep them like in the olden days, and unfortunately the cars have got a bit bigger, and sometimes they just don't fit.
Oh, that's funny you should say that. Well, especially if you go on some of the roads that are the L roads or the R roads, and if there's more than one R for rural road, so it's an RR or an RRR road, the more letters in front of it and the more numbers behind it, the less you want to be on that road. And I've actually seen 5 L's for local road, L, 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 and 5 numbers. And once I saw 6 numbers after all those L's. That's basically a grass strip.
Means Stephanie, that usually means there's grass in the middle of the road.
Right, it's a grass strip and 2 mud heaps. And if you meet somebody coming the other way, you just hope there's a spot to pull over on the side. But so you do your best to stay off that road. But you see, I see an opportunity for people to merge the two, because I don't think people should be afraid
Americans love our tours, and most of our clients are from North America, mainly US and a lot from Canada, and we have a huge selection on our website, RailToursIreland.com. We do one-day tours up to 11-day tours.
Oh, wow.
And we do a very, very tour only twice a year, called the Emerald Isle Express. And this is a 5-star product. And this is your own private heritage train, which is limited to 50 guests, and it travels around Ireland. But at night, we don't sleep on the train. We sleep in castles and 5-star hotels.
Very cool. That's very cool, and I want to talk about that in some depth. But if you're taking a 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9-day tour and you're going to be in Ireland longer, please let me encourage you not to be afraid to drive in Ireland. Just pay attention. If you're a good driver, you'll get used to it fairly quickly. I'll tell you did you ever go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, Jim?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's even goofier there because like Barbados and St. Lucia and the other islands of British ancestry, the U.S. Virgin Islands has a Danish ancestry. And in Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, they drive on the left side of the road too. So in the Caribbean, you will find many islands where you drive on the left. But in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you drive on the left, but you're driving an American car with left-hand drive. And it's easier to drive the right-hand drive car on the left side of the road than it is to drive the left-hand drive car on the left side of the road. It takes a little getting used to, but you pay attention, and it is what it is. But I really do want to focus on what the rail product is. So, first of all, do all of your tours leave from Dublin?
Yes, almost all leave from Dublin. We do have shore excursions now from Dublin and from Cork, from Cove, which is the port of Cork. Huge number of cruise liners are coming in, many from the States, coming into Cove and to Dublin. And we do wonderful shore excursions in Cork to Blarney Castle, and in Dublin we go out a fabulous journey to the Wicklow Mountains. Oh,
beautiful! And this is all on the train?
All on the train.
Oh, wow!
And, every tour is a train, and there's a coach as well.
When you go through
to the cliff edge and see the castles and whatever.
I'm going to ask you a question that we're going to answer coming up. When you go through the Wicklow Mountains, are you anywhere in one of those gaps, Sally Gap or somebody's gap? Stay with me. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back. Don't leave me. We've got a lot to talk about. Stay tuned for more. Hi, I'm Stephanie Abrams, and you know I love to go traveling, and I bet you do too, and that's why you're watching. But if you're going traveling, there are some things that you absolutely need. One is a passport, and another is something to entertain you, perhaps other than a video game while you're traveling. Maybe when you crawl in bed at night, or while you're on an airplane, or maybe waiting at the airport. Try Rumors by Stephanie Abrams. You'll find it at every online bookseller. It's a story of intrigue, mystery, love, lust, romance, and all wrapped up in rumors in a community where people like to talk about one another. And the end result, you'll never see coming. It's full of twists and turns, fast-paced, and people just love it. Go read the reviews and get yourself a copy for traveling with. Rumors by Stephanie Abrams. I'm delighted to have Jim Deegan with us. He is the director of RailTours Ireland First Class. They offer a variety of rail tours, and they are anything from a long day where you go from Dublin to Galway and back and do so much and see so much in the same day to overnights, where you might be anywhere from 1 to 11 nights going about with the train. There are two very special journeys coming up. These are very posh journeys of 9 nights. And now you've mentioned that you don't sleep on the train on this 9-night. You're in 4 and 5 star Castle hotels.
Oh, no, all 5 star.
Okay, all 5 star. Got it. All 5 star, and they're beautiful. I've looked at what they are.
Oh, fabulous,
yeah, Castle hotels.
We start off in Dublin in the 5-star Marion Hotel. After we pick you up from the airport, because everything is included from the airport to the airport, we call it a rail cruise. So just like a cruise, any cruise, everything is included. So we pick you up from the airport on day 1, and you overnight in the 5-star Marion Hotel in Dublin that night. And the next morning we take you on a little tour of Dublin, and you then board the train after a champagne reception at Connolly Station, and the train makes its way down the very scenic east coast down to Waterford. So we have a private tour of Waterford Crystal. And then we overnight in the fabulous Mount Juliet 5-star country estate in County Kilkenny.
How lovely.
And then we depart the next day from the station, which is very close to Mount Juliet, called Thomastown. And we head over through the beautiful Sure Valley, through the mountains of Tipperary, and we arrive in Cork. And there we visit Blarney Castle and overnight in the fabulous Fota Island 5-star resort.
Oh, we're taking a little break. Pay attention and come on back. And so, is that in like a separate dining area, or it's done like the parlor car on the Orient Express? Sorry?
So, including a dining car and also a bar car.
Oh, that is so cool. See, you can't get that on a motor coach. That doesn't happen. You know? That's really fantastic. Of all the itineraries that you offer, what would you say would be the ones that are the most popular and the ones that people ought to be taking, but for whatever reasons have not? You know, they don't go the same numbers as some of the others.
Well, we have all our tours are very popular, but we've 42 different options on our website, and the most popular day tour is to the Cliffs of Moher, and then the most popular extended tour is our All Ireland 6-day tour, which does from Dublin to Cork and Blarney, the Ring of Kerry, the Cliffs of Moher, the Aran Islands, Connemara, and the Giant's Causeway in the north.
So let me ask you a question. Is there are they all like odd numbers? I think you said a 1, 2, and 3, but then I seem to be like a 5 and a 7 and a 9 and an 11.
Oh yes, a 5 and we've our 11-day tour does Cork, Killarney, the Ring of Kerry, the Cliffs of Moher, the Burn, Galway Bay, Connemara, the Aran Islands, the Giant's Causeway, Belfast and Titanic, and Ireland's coolest county, Donegal. So
let me ask you a question. Is there something you do in 3 days or 4 days that we should know about?
Well, we do a 4-day tour.
Okay, tell me about that. I want to hear about that. Yeah, because you see, somebody going to Ireland for, if you leave home Friday night or Saturday and you arrive Saturday or Sunday into Ireland, better if you left Friday night and then you get there Saturday. You've got the 2 days of the weekend, the first day of which you're going to be recovering from jet lag. And then you've got 5 days during the week. And then you've got the Saturday, and maybe you're flying home Sunday. So when you're all done, if you fly on Friday, you've got 9 days to deal with. Now, if you took a 4-day train trip, that would still leave you 5 days to play in Ireland, differently. and get to see
Sure.
parts of it that, you make better time on the train than you're ever going to make, you have the efficiency of the travel.
Extended tour, we give a free hop-on, hop-off 48-hour ticket in Dublin.
Oh, fabulous. That's fabulous. So tell me what you do on a 4-day rail trip.
A 4-day, we do Blarney day 1, overnight in Killarney, Ring of Kerry day 2, overnight in Killarney, and then we do the Bunratty Castle, the Cliffs of Moher, Galway Bay, overnight in Galway, and on day 4 we do the savage beauty of Connemara, and then back to Dublin. So 3 nights. It's 4 days, 3 nights.
Is there a 5-day, 4-night?
Hotels in Killarney and Galway.
Is there a 5-day, 4-night?
Then there's a 5-day, which is that tour that I just mentioned with the Aran Islands added, and a second night in Galway.
Oh, so tell me about the Aran Islands part. So do you take a boat over? Did I lose you? I appear to have lost you, Jim. Just at this most salient moment. We've got to find out about that, and we're going to share it with you because I think that would be fantastic. And can you imagine if you want to go and, fly into Shannon or fly into Dublin or fly into Cork now for that matter, spend 2 or 3 days, 3 days, 2 nights during which you get over your jet lag, you go have some fun in the city and all that it offers you. You've got to get yourself to Dublin if you're going to join one of these rail tours, and then maybe spend 3 days, 2 nights, 4 days, 3 nights, 5 days, 4 nights of your entire journey. And if you're going to be away 8 nights, maybe you want to do 4 days, 3 nights on the train and have the rest of the time to play. And if you don't want to rent a car, then when it gets you back to Dublin, stay in Dublin where a car is a disadvantage. Parking's expensive, inconvenient, traffic. It's not fun to drive in Dublin. So if you're going to get a car, you want to get it for when you leave Dublin, not while you're in it. But if you don't want to do that, take a rail tour and pair it up with a nice city stay. What a lovely trip. So much more to come. Stay with me. This is Stephanie Abrams. Stay with me. We'll be right back. We are now in Essex, New York. Truly a colonial town. That's the Essex Inn. Food is terrific. The place is charming and darling. Every room is different. You'll really enjoy it. But that's the back of the Essex Inn, and they've built this wonderful patio and fire pit. We were there to meet Temple Grandin, and that is Temple Grandin. Go Google her and go see the film called Temple Grandin starring Claire Danes. After we left the Essex Inn on this gorgeous fall day, we followed the signs to the ferry, but on our way we stopped in the spot where the folks over at the restaurant of the Essex Inn make their own pasta, and then off on the ferry to go across Lake Champlain to Vermont. Ah, the economy of words. Look at this. It's the Pink Pig Cafe, and all we need is the word cafe, and we've told the whole story. Here in Essex, New York, a darling, clearly colonial days town with so many historic buildings, marvelous architecture. And we're here in the fall, so we're up to our necks in the most beautiful fall foliage and leaves on the ground to crunch in. If you're a guest of the Essex Inn here in Essex, New York, it's a B&B, but they've beaten the system of having a cook in the morning by hosting your breakfast here at the Pink Pig Cafe. And what a yummy breakfast it is. And check out their muffins. We've just left the town of Essex in upstate New York, and we're at the ferry crossing. That's Lake Champlain, and on the other side is Vermont. Okay, here comes the ferry. I think it's time for me to get in our car. Gentlemen, Start your engines, and ladies too. Look at that. The little ramp is being lowered down. Golly, did you take your Dramamine? It's gray. There have been some snow flurries today, and we're still in fall. Look at the gorgeous fall foliage everywhere. All right, they're taking the rope down. Here come the cars off. Well, almost. Come on, people, you can do it. There they go. And as soon as they're unloaded, it'll be our turn to get on board. There's a reminder, no phone use while boarding. They didn't say anything about creating video for a TV show, though. So, all right, we got to get our engines started because we're going to be getting on next. We are slowly pulling away from the dock here in Essex, New York, and we are heading on what should be about a 20 to 30 minute, probably closer to 30 minute crossing of Lake Champlain. I'm told that yesterday it was pretty rough out here, but I don't know. This doesn't look all that. This is not what you call a mirrorless lake image. We're just at the dock and it's a little bumpy. But I'm a good sailor, so we'll be good. You can see the mountains in Vermont across the lake. And there's a little one having a good time crossing in Dad's protective arms. That's very cool. Very cool. And you can see there's still fall foliage in abundance, but I wish those snow flurries would come back so you could see them. That added to the atmosphere and the romance. And yeah, you might want to take a Dramamine while you're watching this, because I don't know what kind of effect it's going to have on you. But I'm loving every second of it. Costs about $10 to get on this ferry, and that includes the driver. And then there's an extra fee, around $4 a person. I'm sure that little one wasn't accounted for. There must be an age lower limit where they offer free transportation, but you'll want to check. What a lovely way to go to Vermont. Oh yeah, we are a rockin' and a rollin'. Oh, and the flurries are back. I hope you can see them. We had the snow tires put on our car yesterday before we headed up this way. That was a smart move. Who can believe it's still autumn color leaves and there's a chance of some decent amount of snow. That looks like one very special house over there. Big enough to be a hotel, but I have a suspicion that is a private home. What a view. Well, we have arrived on North Hero Island in Vermont, and that is the North Hero House Inn and Restaurant, where the food is spectacular. They have 3 buildings. That's one of them, the South Wind. And they're right there at the beach, and in the summer, I guess even in the spring and early fall, it's just a delightful place to veg out, take a walk. You can see the beach there in front of, there's the 3 houses together, and you see the beach there off to your left. And then more beach off to your right, and lots of grass and Adirondack chairs in between. We actually went up into the region near Plattsburgh, New York, and then over Lake Champlain into Vermont, because I wanted to go to Beekmantown High School for an appearance there of Temple Grandin. And after doing that, we made our way here to Vermont. I'm just getting too relaxed to talk about it, really. Isn't that lovely? It's just lovely. And the rooms are beautifully decorated. They're very comfortable. Oh, welcome, people. We made it off the ferry. A not very long, but absolutely delightful drive to North Hero Island, where we are at North Hero House, and I am with the owner, Walter Blaisberg, who I've had on radio with me, and I feel like we're old friends. We've talked so much on the phone. I'm loving being here, Walter.
Well, we're happy to have you.
This is amazing, and just behind us, I'm hoping you can see Lake Champlain well, and I am told that on the opposite side of the lake, pity there's no ferry or causeway that way, that's Stowe, Vermont right there, and we are on North Hero Island, Vermont. It's got a special name, doesn't it?
It does.
Where'd you get it from?
It came from the Revolutionary War heroes that fought for the Green Mountain State. They gave them land instead of money, and they called it the Hero Islands.
They took an island and gave it to a bunch of people? How did they divide it up?
I don't know, but there was in multiple plots, and most of them sold it off for not very much money to the Allen brothers, who became, Ira Allen, Ethan Allen, that group.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
When was the first time you were on North Hero Island?
Oh, probably in the 50s sometime.
Wow.
I started going to the other side of the lake in 1950.
Well, where did you go?
St. Albans.
What was there?
There were cousins had camps, what they call cottages there, and we rented a cottage and fished for 3 weeks.
And you loved that?
I did, yeah. And my dad always would go to Butler Island, and then in 1962 he bought property on Butler Island, which is where, actually part of North Hero, and built a house there. So that's kind
And
of
your family used that for a holiday and whatnot, or you lived year-round?
No, just for the summertime. It was a summer place. That was our place. So I built my own house there.
North Hero House is unique and special. How have people found, how have they been able to find this very special place? I mean, it's truly, you want to get away from it all, this is the place to do it.
Well, the inn was built in 1891, so it has a long history. It's operated as an inn for over 100 years. So people know about it. In addition to that, we advertise on the radio, in some magazines, but primarily through the internet and social media.
When did you and this complex of buildings, because you got the main house, and just behind us across the road, there are 2 other buildings.
3.
3. Where's the third one?
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I see. It's nestled even closer to the lake. Were all of these 4 buildings here and you acquired them one at a time, or did you build any, or what?
The previous owner put the package together and made 3 different rooms and redid them back in the late 60s. They purchased it from the original owners in 1969, I think, but they had owned it since 1891.
So the last owners owned it from 1891 to
1969.
69?
Those were the first owners.
So they were the first owners of the property, running it as an inn.
Yes.
And then in 1969 it was sold to somebody else?
Yes.
And along comes Jones. Along comes Walter Blaisberg.
I bought it in 1997.
What motivated you to do that?
Well, I'd come here as a kid, and it had fallen into disrepair, and I wanted to restore it to what it looked like when I was a kid.
Did you actually stay here when you were a child?
No, we just came here for dinner.
Oh, very cool. I love that story. There are other stories like that come to mind. The Delphi House in Connemara in County Galway was owned by the Lord somebody, Lord Sligo maybe, I have to go check it out. Lord somebody in Ireland owned this hunting and fishing lodge that he built in Connemara. And ultimately it became Delphi Lodge, and it was going to be sold by the owner. The people that had been coming there for decades didn't want the building to be sold and either to private people or reused some other imaginative way. And so a consortium of past guests got together. And as a group, they bought it. You had shared with me, Walter, that you bought North Hero House in 1997, was it?
Yes.
At what point did you, or was there a point when you said to yourself, what have I gotten myself into?
Well, when the first manager didn't write down any of the checks he wrote.
Oh my word. Oh my word.
That was unpleasant.
Oh my, unpleasant. You were a master of understatement.
That took 3 months to sort out. Yeah.
That's horrifying. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So things were just kept on a scorecard. You know, you write something, you just make an X. And
Not
like,
even that.
Like scoring a baseball game, not even that.
Not even that, no. Had to get all the checks from the bank and reconstruct the checkbook.
Holy cow. Well, hopefully there was nothing embezzled. It was just, oh, well, we won't go into that then.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, there's one rule in business, people. And I'm going to use the generic he, but it could be she. He who writes the checks in a company should never be the person who gets the mail first. Rule number 1 in business. You probably agree with that.
Well, we had a situation.
We're undertaking what I'm going to guess was a fairly major renovation, no?
That was the easy part.
Oh, you're kidding.
We gutted the place and redid everything. That was the easy part. That was real estate. That was straightforward. We knew what to do there. It's the management of the issue.
Yeah, that's the unexpected.
That's the hard part.
What's the total number of heads in beds here?
There are 26 rooms, so, you know, if you figure 2 per person, that's 52. Or 2 per room, that's 52.
Yeah. Which makes this an ideal spot for people to take over for a benchmarking occasion. Everything from a wedding, which would come to mind first, but birthdays, anniversaries. It's an even...
Family reunions are big.
Yeah, and you know, girl getaway weekends, get together with your sorority sisters, whatever. I mean, it's just as... We're lodged in the cabin yonder. And we're in, as you walk in the little indoor, but feeling like you're outside corridor, the view of the beach, even here in the fall, is just spectacular.
No.
Are people populating that beach all summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
except on a really windy, rainy day, but...
Yeah, well, that can happen anywhere.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, in essence, the most popular time for people to come here would be what, May to October?
Yes. The biggest months are July and August.
Ah.
And we have a restaurant that's open on the pier next to the beach, July and August, frozen drinks, so the kids can play and the mom can watch from the dining chair.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of dining here last night and got to meet your chef, executive chef and sous chef, and we're going to be doing a little cooking together.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, it is so important for me to have an opportunity to basically do a tasting. Because you don't know what's what, no matter what reviews you read, until you experience it yourself. And here we are, truly tucked away in God's country, experiencing the kind of dinner you would need to go to San Francisco or New York City or somewhere in France to experience. The food was sensational, to the point that I literally licked the platter clean in every course. I may not eat again for another week. There has to be some challenge in enticing incredibly talented people to come and live here,
Yeah.
to be in your kitchen and staff your property?
Well, they both live on the island, so this is their home.
Wow. Did you luck out?
Well, one of them was already here, and the other one moved, and we provide a cottage for him on property, and he's really happy. He likes his commute.
Oh my gosh, I would think he would. Well, I have the executive chef and the sous chef of North Hero House on North Hero Island, Vermont, waiting for me, and we're gonna go cook together. Stay with me. We'll be right back. I promised you we'd do a little cooking here at the North Hero House on North Hero Island in Vermont, an island in the midst of beautiful Lake Champlain on this gorgeous, sunny, delightful fall day. And I'm with Executive Chef Jim Buck and sous chef Jeremy Potvin. And we're going to be doing some cooking. So first we're going to cook with our sous chef Jeremy, and let's see, we're cooking up a storm. What is it that we're making?
First I'm going to make our North Hero House garden salad. So we grew the...
Is that a carrot?
This is butternut squash, raw butternut squash. We grew this in the garden down at Walt's house. So that's going to go in the bowl.
Wow. Did you just use one of those little paring tools to do that? Or
Actually just a vegetable peeler. A little salt and pepper.
Wow. Okay.
And then this is
We won't eat this one.
chili and lime vinaigrette. So we just dress the greens.
So what is that now?
Chili and lime vinaigrette.
Chilean lime?
Chili and lime.
Chili and lime.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do you make it?
Traditional vinaigrette, some ancho chilies, dried ancho chilies in a Roboku in the food processor, lime juice, olive oil, salt, pepper. Pretty straightforward.
Oh, pretty straightforward. Okay then.
So, sorry. Back in the bowl, then we take some pickled beets that we also grew at Walter's house in the garden.
Walter Blaisberg, the owner.
Yes, ma'am. Little.
Oh, and is the butternut squash from his garden too?
Yep, it is.
He's very proud of those.
Oh, yes, he is.
He comes in parading them.
Yes, he does. We have to bring
Large.
them to tables often. Vermont butter, Vermont Creamery goat cheese, some orange segments,
Yum.
just to add a little tartness, and then we finish it off with a little fresh sage chiffonade that we also grew right out there in that bed. And that is the fall salad at the North Hero House Inn.
May I have it?
Absolutely.
Let me see if I can just hold it up at an angle. You see how beautiful that looks. I love all the colors. And I noticed just outside the window, you've got a garden bed full of kale.
Yes, we do.
Why don't you put that down before I break your beautiful glass table?
Next, moving forward, I'm going to do our crab cake dish.
But you took the shortcut. How did you make that crab cake?
Oh, that's a long process, the whole mixing of it. There's a lot of
Talk to me about
a lot of
that.
fine dicing involved. There's some...
So we start with lump crab meat.
Yep, jumbo lump crab meat. And then there's red onion, red pepper, parsley, celery.
Hold on. Red onion, red pepper,
Yep.
parsley,
Celery.
celery, a little dill maybe?
No dill. A little Old Bay seasoning.
Go Old Bay seasoning and go Baltimore.
And then I have a secret ingredient that I can't tell you about. And
Why?
then, well, just cause. And then...
Why, you put a little weed in there? Or
No,
what?
no weed. Little mayo. We are in Vermont, but no. Little mayo, little Dijon mustard, little panko breadcrumbs, and mix it all
Any
together.
egg white or egg
Nope,
yolk?
there's no egg product in it at all.
Okay.
So we get the
Is that
nonstick-
Parmesan cheese on the outside?
No,
What is
that's
that?
a little bit more panko, just to give it a...
No, but it's so white.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
just to give it a little bit more
All right. Is that olive oil?
crust. That's just a little virgin olive oil, yep.
Okay.
Actually, do you have a plate over there, Jim?
Yes, I grew up the beginnings of my life in Baltimore, where anything with crabs is a big deal.
Right, so everything in here is fully cooked, so we just try to warm them through. There's not really a long
And
cooking
make 'em
process on
golden.
Little golden brown, yep.
Beautiful. you ever make crab imperial?
I have not.
Also known as imperial crab, depending on where you're having it. Okay, I'm going to send you the recipe. I want you to try it.
Sure enough. Yeah.
It puffs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And make them in a ramekin. And you can serve it right in the ramekin.
Sure, okay.
I have these special, if I can dig them out, we're going to show you pictures of them. I have these special Pyrex cooking things. It's round, it's like oval like this, and then the Pyrex extends and it looks like the body of a crab and 2 crab claws.
Okay.
But it's Pyrex. And you make the imperial crab mixture.
Okay.
And you put it in with little breadcrumbs on top. And when you put it in the oven, it puffs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you put in egg white and egg yolk. But it's the egg white that makes it puff.
Makes it puff up, yep.
And it's delicious. And it's basically crab and some Dijon mustard and some mayonnaise and the egg yolk, the egg white beat up real good to make it fluff, and the egg yolk and some seasonings. And of course, I said in the show when I was cooking with the executive chef Janos Korolagos, easy for you to say, the executive chef on the Celestial Olympia ship in the Aegean. Check out episode 13. Cooking and Cruising with Celestial. And I mentioned then when we were talking about seafood, and he said something about bay leaves, and we moved from Baltimore to New York when I was like preteen, and my mother used to go back to Baltimore not only to visit family, but mostly to pick up Old Bay seasoning because she couldn't get it in New York.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Yeah, so you're going to do seafood, you need Old Bay
you gotta
seasoning.
have a little Old Bay, right? So we just dress a little bit.
But it's amazing. Here you are in Vermont. You have it now. I was a kid. We had to drive 360 miles to go get Old Bay seasoning.
Right. So to finish this off, we just do a little fresh garden greens. Same vinaigrette that we used on the salad. And this is a sriracha aioli because sriracha is probably my favorite thing to eat.
How spicy is it?
It's not real spicy. We just do a little circle.
Okay.
On the
All
top.
Right. Here's what I want you to do with that.
Okay.
Because I'm salivating.
Okay.
I want you to put that on the side.
Okay.
And plan to have a fork and a napkin, and I'm going to sit down and eat that.
Absolutely.
All right. That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
So can we just put the two, let me have that and let me have this, and look at this wonderful either lunch or beginnings of a meal with an appetizer and a salad, and let's leave it right here. There we go. And we'll move on. Signs of the times, people. And here's a bunch of signs in County Clare, Ireland. Look how many places there are to visit, how many places are advertising where to stay. You've got the cliffs, you've got the caves, and on the roads getting to and from, look at the warning about crosswinds. When you see that wind socket sign, it's serious. And then we go into places all over Ireland where you'll find brown signs, and the brown signs direct you to waterfalls, scenic overlooks, and wonderful places to visit. Now this gate, if you want to go to the top of Slieve League, which is twice as high as the cliffs of Moher, then you've got to open that gate, drive through, and close the gate. It's all uphill, fellas. Look at that one. One of the reasons that you might like having a manual shift car, but on the other hand, this is in Hawaii. How about a 25% downgraded hill? That was scary. You feel like you're free falling. This is also on the big island of Hawaii, longhorn cattle. Those horns had to be 6 feet or more from one tip to the other. And this was in the western part of England. I think that's a geese crossing, so watch out. Costa Rica. This was on the grounds of Tullamore Resort, and Despacio, slow, because of sloths and monkeys, and I don't know what that other animal is. Of course, this was in Conway, near Conway Castle, in the western part of England that borders Wales. Imagine racehorses crossing. And in Irish, letting you know there's an entrance to a farm, and watch out, there may be a tractor coming in front of you. Yeah, Boston, people, but not the one in Massachusetts. That's in Ireland. And it's pointing you, if you notice there, to the Burren Chocolatier. There's two kinds of road signs when there's heavy rains in Ireland. One says road flooded, and the other says road closed. Don't go in either. Want to hold a baby lamb? That's on the Dingle Peninsula. And you can hold a little tiny sweet baby lamb. You can also see the round stone huts built 800 to 1,000 years ago by monks. And of all those road signs, the one I love the most is the downhill road signs, especially the one with the 25% downgraded angle that makes you feel like you're free falling. But it reminds me of an Irish prayer, an Irish toast, an Irish wish. May you have warm words on a cold evening, a full moon on a dark night, and the road downhill all the way to your door. Come back next week, same time, same station. So good to travel with you. This is Stephanie Abrams, Travel TV. There has to be some challenge. This is a challenge. Hi, I'm Stephanie Abrams, here in this bookshop to do a wonderful book signing. And why? Because everybody's interested in Rumors, my novel of suspense, intrigue, love, lust, and conspiracies and lies, and an ending you'll never see coming. Give it a shot. You'll find it at every online bookseller. Look for Rumors by Stephanie Abrams and enjoy.